Hi everyone, this is Scott Dudley from Funnel Fella Radio, and today my special guest is Farhad Khurshed from Copywriting Results over on the east coast of Australia in Sydney, on the other side of the country. Farhad, you ready to rock and roll?
Yes, absolutely. Let's go.
All right, let's go. So if we go back to the beginning and how you first got into marketing and copywriting.
Yeah. So I have a background in advertising. So I did my MBA in marketing, and soon after I joined Saatchi in India. So I started off, that was of course in another life, previous life actually, nothing to do with direct response copy, which I do now.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a copywriter then. I started off with client servicing. So I was an account exec. And when I got there, that was kind of the best training I ever got in marketing and advertising, working with Saatchi, because before I even met a client, I had to go through a complete training program that was for about 6 weeks, where they put me into different divisions: copywriting, production, art department. And that gave me a fantastic introduction into the world of advertising. But of course, that was brand advertising,
Yes.
nothing like direct response at all. So completely different. So that was how I got started. And it was quite grueling at that stage because I had to do kind of all sorts of work, including supervising photography. And those were the days before computers were invented. So we actually had to do, our art guys used to actually do artworks using bromide prints, sticking it onto cardboard and actually showing it to clients. So, but it was very good. The training was fantastic. After that, I was there for about 6 years, and then I went to the Middle East, joined an advertising agency there. That was a small one. And then what happened was, about 3 years or about 3 or 4 years into that, the copywriter who was we had employed suddenly quit. He was a guy from the UK, and that was in the middle of a promotion. So I had to actually step in and
Ah,
fill in the fill in his boots. I was an account director, but I had to then write some copy.
yeah.
That was where I actually started dabbling into copywriting. And then I came to Australia in the year 2000, and that's where I actually first heard about direct response copywriting. And then I dabbled for a bit, and that's how I got into it.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So let's sort of fast forward now to the present. Tell me a little bit about your copywriting business, what types of clients you're working with, and what services you're offering.
So I work both with a few direct response agencies in Sydney and all over the world. Actually, I've got a couple in the US and one even in your side of town. And I have a few independent clients. So I mostly do sales funnel copy, that is landing pages, email sequences, Facebook ads, and video scripts for the landing pages and things like that. I also do a few sales letters. So it's mostly focused on direct response copy, and that's what I do now. Uh, what I'm also trying to do, or that's my new love, is to do broadcast emails for the natural health industry, people who have natural health businesses, e-commerce businesses, because it's getting a bit harder for them to advertise on Facebook given the restrictions. So this is basically promotional emails, broadcast emails to get people, to get them to buy their products.
So the majority of the stuff you're doing is usually emails, is it?
Not not only emails, like I said, it's full funnel copywriting. So emails is a component of that, but for this particular niche, the focus is email
Okay, for this
broadcast
niche.
emails. But I
Yeah, I
do,
see.
yeah,
Yep.
but I do complete sales funnel copy.
Okay, perfect. So is it just you yourself on your own, or do you have other people sort of working for you as well?
So it's mostly on my own. occasionally I get requests to do a few articles and blog posts and things like that. And if I don't have actually time to do that, then I uh, take the help of some other junior copywriters to write these kind of things for me, and then I brush over it, add my two bit, polish it up for clients, and then yeah, that's about it. But yeah, mostly it's me myself.
Yeah, those sort of things are a little bit easy to outsource than the actual direct response copy, so that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it's not the main stuff like actual sales letters and things like that, because I know these clients quite intimately and it requires a lot of work. So, and you know, they know my style, because what I've found is in Australia, a lot of clients don't like what they call is the American bullshit. They don't like that kind of style of copy. That's why actually when they look at my copy, they say, okay, you don't write that way. You don't use hypey kind of copywriting, and that's one of the reasons why they actually uh, like me to write for them, especially in Australia.
Yeah, because I actually was a direct response copywriter for about 3 or 4 years, and yeah, I had quite a few people say that as well. Because there is definitely a difference between the Australian style and the American style. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is it pretty much just copywriting? You don't do any traffic or optimization or anything like that. It's just you just focus on the copywriting, don't you?
Yeah, it's mainly copywriting, but I do some Facebook ads, and I do website copy as well, which does require keywords and things like that. But yes, it's 100% copywriting.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So tell us about one of your most successful marketing campaigns and why you believe it performed so well.
Okay. So this was about last year. I got involved with a company in Melbourne, and this is through a digital marketing agency that I freelance for, involved in property investments, and they had a big event coming up. So I actually worked on the entire sales funnel. It took about probably about 8 weeks or so because it was pretty intense. So it all started off with the lead magnet, which was a kind of free report which they were offering, and then after they sent out the free report, I wrote the copy for the landing page and the Facebook ads and all the follow-up sequences. So there were about 4 consumption emails for them. So once the free report was sent out, we got them to actually read the reports. So they said, here's what's on page 5, read about this, page 6. So the 4 emails like that. And then after that, they were grandfathered into a webinar sequence. Again, I had to write the webinar landing page and the follow-up sequences to get them to attend. So that involved about 4 emails, a soap opera sequence, which you probably very familiar with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Nonsense, yeah. Basically, for the audience, I offered a lot of value bombs in all those emails. That was beyond what they were exposed to in the emails previously, or in the webinar, or in the ebook. So none of that was covered. So there was no duplication, but there was a lot of interesting content, and all that was actionable content, which they could actually use straight away
Yeah.
to invest in properties and things like that. And then after that, there was also a 4 email sequence of testimonials. So this client has a lot of testimonials, and we actually had some case study testimonials which went out in emails. And eventually, the goal was to get them to jump up onto a consultation. So
Yep.
before that, they had another webinar which got into what they were doing and why they should get these guys, why these guys should actually get into the consultation and things like that, and how it could help. Now, the thing with this was why this worked very well is because there were 4 groups. The target audience was divided into 4 groups. So one was time poor executives, which is about 30%. And second was rent investors. So these are guys who are actually renting, but they don't have their own home, but they're renting, but they want to invest in properties. That's about 20%. Family oriented people who already have their own home and now want to invest for their financial security, retirement, things like that. That's 40%. And the fourth group was 50 plus, people in the 50 plus age group, and that was about 10% nearing retirement. So probably they weren't quite there and they needed to do something with the money they had, probably cashed up, but they needed to do something for retirement. So these were the four target audiences. It may sound simple. You may be wondering why it took me 8 weeks to do this, but I had to do different landing pages, different email sequences for each of these groups.
Oh yeah,
And
sounds
each
like a
of these
huge
groups were,
project. Sorry,
yeah,
go on.
each
Yep.
of these groups were targeted separately. So it was doing like almost four kind of campaigns.
Yeah, in one.
And there was
Yeah.
a different messaging for each segment. So
Yes.
that's why it was very intense and it was pretty successful. So they got what they wanted, actually overachieved. So we're very happy with that. And now what I do with this client is that they have a webinar every month. So I do the landing page for the webinar, Facebook ads and email sequences, follow-up sequences. Now with the follow-up sequences, what we also had was sent out emails to people who watched the webinar completely but probably didn't book an appointment. Then secondly, we had a sequence for people who watched the webinar, part of the webinar, and an email sequence for those who didn't watch or probably didn't attend the webinar. So there was a replay sequence and things like that. So quite an intensive project. But that's what we do now every month. So it's one webinar every month,
Oh,
and
okay.
we
Ongoing
schedule
work.
it every
Yeah.
month. Yeah, ongoing work with them. Yeah.
So that'd be one of your biggest clients, would they?
At this stage, yes, one
Yeah.
of big clients. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the next question's regarding your favorite online tools and platforms. Now, I know as a copywriter, you're probably not using a lot of platforms and tools and so on. But I was going to ask, like, are you using something like funnel scripts to help you to actually write the copy, or an actual software program that you put in the answers to questions, it spits out the copy, and then you massage it, or don't you use those at all?
No, I don't use those at all. I've heard of them, I've tried them, but they actually didn't quite work for me because I do a lot of research when I write copy. So about say 60% of the work is doing research.
Yeah.
And you know, I found that a lot of the scripted kind of copy doesn't quite work for me and the clients. I probably wouldn't do that. So no, I don't use any of those. But yes, I do use other tools such as that's for myself. And what I recommend to clients such as ClickFunnels, I use other funnel builders as well, Groove Pages, which is new, and FunnelVio. And for emails, I use GetResponse, but I feel ActiveCampaign is also pretty good. Infusionsoft, I think, is sort of too advanced. So I don't use it. And we have had clients using it in the past, but they've sort of jumped to ActiveCampaign because it's probably easier to use and a lot more affordable.
Yeah, from what I've heard, I don't use either of those, but from what I've heard, Active Campaign is a lot more user-friendly and less confusing as Infusionsoft, which is why some people call it Confusionsoft. But
Yes.
yeah, yeah. All right. So, what are some of the biggest and most common mistakes that you see clients making?
Few actually. Uh, First of all, they try to push an idea at the wrong time. See, so, there are sometimes clients have brilliant ideas. They think, wow, this sounds great. We should sort of get into it. Let's kind of sell it. But the audience may not be ready for it. The time may be absolutely wrong. For example, right now, you really can't push anything to do with the travel industry, which is pretty bad. You can't sell holidays now because you can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
That's an extreme example, but Yeah, there are things like that. Sometimes it has to do with investments when the timing is not just right. So, however good the copy or the design or whatever else, if you have great idea, if the timing is not right, I think you shouldn't push it. So that's one of the mistakes they made. They excited about their product, but sometimes the
Mm,
timing is just wrong. So you just don't get into it. You wait for the right timing.
yep.
Then another thing is not willing to test ideas. So with marketing, what you need to do is you need to have the patience and you need to test ideas. I mean, copywriters or even the best marketers really can't predict with 100% certainty that something will work. Sometimes it does, sometimes it
Mm,
doesn't. So clients need to be willing to test ideas, which means doing different Facebook ads, different ideas. The big idea, like they say, the big idea is the one key thing in marketing.
yeah.
And
Yep.
sometimes some ideas don't work, and you can't say. It's only the target audience which decides what works and what doesn't. So split testing is something which is also very important. So they need to have the patience to do that and to invest in testing. Another thing is they expect instant results. So they don't have faith in the process. For example, even when you do Facebook ads or send out emails, see, let's say Facebook ads, right? So you need to actually warm up the pixel. Pixel, as they call it, is so important nowadays in Facebook advertising. And then you need to your audience to get familiar with who you are. it's
Mm,
it's even a good idea to actually send Facebook ads to a blog post and things like that. Establish your credibility. Do that first and then try to promote your product. So it takes time. You can't straight away, it's like that thing which all marketers say. You can't ask, it's like the analogy is asking a girl to marry you on the first date. It
yeah.
doesn't work like that. So you got to
Yep.
trust in the process, get them to opt in, then build some rapport, show them some proof testimonials, and then eventually start selling. So a lot of businesses don't have that patience. They just say, yeah, I just want to sell the stuff. It doesn't work that way. Sometimes
Yeah.
it does. That's the low hanging fruit. But then you're missing out on the 99% of people who are not ready to buy today. They may be just sort of looking for information, but they're not ready to buy. So you need to engage with them for a longer period.
Yep.
And another thing which I found is this is not tactical, but more on a strategic level, is an unwillingness to invest for growth. So what happens is we had this client who was doing very well, and then he struck a patch where he had too many orders, he couldn't supply,
Oh no.
and yeah, he couldn't supply and didn't know how to grow to the next stage. So
Yeah.
there are times, like they say, you probably he reached his level of incompetence, and that was it. He didn't know how to grow because he didn't have it in him. He didn't have that kind of knowledge. So there are times when you have to bring in another expert who can grow the business to the next level. So your ego shouldn't come in the way at that stage. So it's very important to understand that you can grow the business up to a point with the help of your marketing agency or your own knowledge and knowledge of your team. But then comes a stage, say if you need to grow bigger, you need help. So what he could have done at that stage was probably get in an investor and
Mm,
then hire somebody like somebody who had a lot more experience than him to grow the business to the next stage. That's another mistake which they make. And of course, interfering with the creative process. So
ah,
when we write
yes.
copy, there's a reason why every word is put in a particular place. That's very right. And sometimes clients just come and change things over, things like that, which probably they shouldn't do. That's another mistake.
Well, that's why they're hiring you because
And
you're the expert. So it doesn't really make sense, does it?
yes, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's true. So that's another thing which they probably shouldn't be doing. And yeah, pro- yeah, I guess these are probably the main things, I guess, mistakes which clients make.
Yeah, that used to frustrate me as well when the client would change things, and you just wonder, why they've changed it when you've done that for a specific reason, and the way that you've changed it, you know that it's not going to work, and then it just hurts the end result and just gets you frustrated. So I can totally relate with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So, what is the biggest challenge that you consistently have to face while running your copywriting business? I guess we've sort of already covered some of these, but are there some other challenges as well?
Oh, yeah, there are a few. Uh, One is getting clients to get their budgets up and market consistently instead of stopping ads. I mean, we're doing well or in good times or bad. Sometimes even when the client is doing, oh, we're doing so well, so we don't need to advertise anymore, and they stop. And then a
Uh,
few months later, they're going down again. So you need to be consistent, especially when advertising on Facebook as well, because once you stop advertising on Facebook, you sort of lose everything that you build, the credibility,
yeah, the
etc.
momentum.
And then you start, yeah, the momentum is gone, and then it's almost like starting all over again.
Yep.
Another thing which they do is that when they advertise on platforms like this, and when they're doing well, they go away on a holiday. This has actually happened to 2 or 3 clients. So they do very well, they get great sales, so they go away on a holiday and spend all the money on their credit card. And then there's nothing in the credit card, so their Facebook ads get declined
Uh, yeah.
and they get stopped. And then they ask her, what's happened to the Facebook ads? Why aren't they showing them? She says, there's no money in the credit card, so they've stopped the ads. And then they can't be contacted at time because they've gone away on a holiday. And when they come back, they say, what's happened? I said, yeah, this is what you did. You don't do that. You got to keep investing and you got to keep your eyes on the business instead of just
That,
taking off.
that's unprofessional. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 2, 3 clients have done that.
Okay.
Third thing is that when they get leads, they need to have a sales team which can close the leads. There was
Mm.
a client got about 1,000 leads for them and they could only close one.
Oh,
That's
gee.
lucky.
Ouch.
Yeah. I mean, so if they don't have the proper sales team in place who can actually close the leads, you can't blame the advertising if it doesn't
Exactly.
work
Yeah.
because your sales team couldn't close the leads. So that's another challenge.
Mm.
Another thing is getting fast approvals. So, when you write copy, it needs to be approved fast. At times, they don't do things for a couple of months. And then for me, by that time, I moved on, and it's sort of lost momentum. And then I had to go back into what they did and then getting back into that frame of mind. That's
Yeah.
another challenge. Another thing, strangely, is they get the copy, they get everything, but they don't implement at times, which is also frustrating, or they take too long to implement. These are probably the main ones, I guess.
So you're sort of saying there where you'll finish the promotion and then they never actually advertise it and it never gets used. Is that what you mean? Or
Yeah, or they just take too long. So,
ah,
to do
okay,
that.
yeah,
When the idea is hot, you need to get it done quickly, implement quickly.
yeah. Strike while the iron's hot. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. All right. So with an eye to the future, what are you curious about or researching right now regarding both digital marketing and copywriting?
So, like I was saying right now, I am trying to get into this broadcast email copywriting for business in the natural health niche who finding it tough to get to advertise on Facebook and Google because of the restrictions they have, things like fat loss and anything else like that. Facebook instantly bans. So it's getting to be tough for them. So I've actually developed a system where they can send out about, say, 3 to 5 broadcast emails for a particular product that they have. They can package a product offer, or even if they have something special going on. So it's 3 to 5 emails a week promoting a certain product, and the next week they go on to another product. So this is basically for businesses who are probably doing around 100K a month in sales and
Yeah.
have an active email list of 2 to 3,000 at least. So this is basically for them. It's a bit of a high-end kind of thing. It's very intense, but it's been proven to work, and that's something which I am, focusing on right now.
Okay, sounds interesting. All right, so who are your marketing idols or the biggest influences on your career? I'd be pretty interested to find out. Probably got a few in
Okay.
common with you, actually.
Yeah, few of the old timers, David Ogilvy, of course, from my advertising days, I was influenced by him a lot, read some of his books. Peter Drucker,
Okay.
Philip Kotler, um, Edward de Bono. He was one of my favorites. I actually had a chance to meet him. He's the guy who wrote Lateral Thinking and who does a lot about thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, he is one of the most boring speakers. If you sort of listen to him speak, you'd probably fall asleep. But I did his Six Thinking Hats program and also lateral thinking. And when I was in the Middle East, he had actually come over and spoken to us and things like that. So it was a privilege to actually meet the man himself. And of
Okay.
course, modern day, Dan Kennedy, Jay Abraham, a few others. But yeah, these guys are the most of people who
Yeah,
actually influenced me a lot.
pretty much any copywriter I ask, they always say Dan Kennedy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess yeah.
Yeah. All right, so to wrap the...
Gary Halbert, of course. Anybody who asks this, yeah, Gary Halbert. You're probably wondering why I didn't mention his name.
I was actually,
Um,
yeah, but I wasn't
yeah,
going to
but
mention it.
I have actually, I hadn't even heard of him till about maybe 10 years ago.
Oh,
Then, yeah, I
okay.
have read a lot of his stuff, and I'm friends with his son Bond
Ah,
Halbert.
yes,
I'm in
yes,
one of his
yes.
programs, so yeah, that's good. Yeah,
What about
but
Gary
somebody who
Bensavenga?
actually,
Oh, sorry.
yes, yeah, Gary Bencivenga. I mean,
Yeah,
a lot of these guys, yes,
yeah.
I sort of know them. John Carlton, but
Mm.
these are the more modern ones. But originally, yes, the ones I told you about influenced me a lot more than uh, them. Although I am Facebook friends with John Carlton and a few others, but I must mention one of the guys that really who impressed me, the younger guns, is a guy called Mitch Miller. I don't know if you heard of him. A
No, I
few
haven't.
years ago, he was nothing, but now he's a gun copywriter, he's a gun businessman, and I think he had done something with Mark Joyner. Yeah, Mark Joyner is another
Oh, yeah.
name, father
Yeah.
of internet marketing.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so yeah.
Perfect.
But check out Mitch Miller. I think you should interview him. He's really very good.
Is he
I can
Australian?
No, he is actually Canadian, but he is based. Yeah, he is Canadian, but where's he based? He's based in Phuket now.
Ah, okay. All right, I'll check him out. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, I can introduce you if you like.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so just to wrap up, where can people go to find out more about your services and or your products?
I don't have any products as such, but yeah, my services, my website is copywriting-results.com. So my email is contact@copywriting-results.com. Or if there's anybody who's actually interested in broadcast emails for natural health products or health related products, they can just contact me directly, and I can actually, if they're really the right people, I can offer to do 2 test emails for them and also do a promo plan, which is part of the package for free. And then if they really get results, then we can move ahead with that. But that's something separate. If you have anybody listening who's into that, then yeah, welcome them to contact me.
Well, that's a great offer. I mean, they can't lose with that, can they? I mean, give it a shot, and if they're happy with that, then yeah, they can hire you. So that's good win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, thanks for your time, Farhad. Really appreciate that. And yeah, we'll catch up with you soon.
And thanks a lot. It's been
Okay,
really great to have me on your podcast. And let's get in touch some other time again.
awesome. Look forward to it. Thanks, Farhad. See you later.
Thanks. Bye.